Well, good morning and welcome, Ben and Jenna, to our simple questions with the Business Network, South Manchester. You're fairly new members, just one meeting down, but would you like to introduce yourselves?
Yes, so we are Ben Mulroney Wealth Management, and we work underneath True Potential, which is one of the largest networks of financial advisors in the UK. But we are very much a local, Wilmslow-based husband and wife business. So I think we've got a lot of understanding with our clients as to where they're at in their life and how we can best help them.
Great, thanks. Jenna, do you want to say anything at this stage?
I am Jenna Mulroney. This is obviously Ben, my husband. I am the wife and also the business partner. And I will facilitate all of the sort of admin in the background. So whilst I don't offer financial advice, I offer everything else.
Great. And how did you come to be Mulroney Wealth Management?
There's a good question. So I was previously employed as a financial advisor at a local firm in Hale. And I took the decision in January to resign from my job and set up on a self-employed basis. I think there were a number of drivers for that. I think the lockdown impact of the whole pandemic really focused our attention around the value from working and the work-life balance we wanted to achieve. So that seemed like an obvious step. We also got married in November last year. So we decided to change our lives around in the middle of a global pandemic, which is obviously a smart thing to do. But I think that focused our attention on building a business where we're working much closer with our clients and also building value for our long term as well.
Yeah, brilliant. That's great. And I was just giving a talk previously before we started, and I came up with the fact from the Federation of Small Businesses. There's been 100,000 new businesses set up in the last 12 months, would you believe? Which is incredible statistic. So I don't think all of them have got married at the same time, though, but that's quite some going. So anyway, you know, at the Business Network, we like to ask something a bit personal about people. So this is this section. So I can see one hobby in the background. Hobbies and passions. What do you do in your spare time?
Well, yeah, as you've rightly alluded to, so in my spare time, I'm a guitarist and musician. So you can see a couple of my guitars in the background, but only a small fraction of them. What you also can't see on the other side of the desk is I have a home studio set up as well.
Right.
So I combine my workstation with my hobby from that point of view. So that's one of my big passions and has been my whole life. The other thing as well that we both do, since I introduced Jenna to it, is we're both very keen boxers. So I compete regularly in white collar boxing events, which is a good chance to put the training to good use as well as raise money for charity. But we both train regularly, and Jenna was actually supposed to have a fight earlier this year.
Yes, try and find somebody to fight. It's very difficult as a slender lady. So I love boxing. I've been doing it for about 2 years now with Ben.
Right. Wow. Well, with nobody else in the group who've said that one as a hobby. So great, thanks. And
we go into the boxing ring and just sort of punch it out.
Right. So that's the key to a happy marriage, is it?
It seems to be, yeah.
Right.
I do what I'm told.
Great. Yeah. Well, don't we all? So Wilkin Tissue, you'll meet on Thursday, said to me. All you've got to remember is yes, dear. That's what he said to me. That's the key. So moving on. Podcasts. Do either of you listen to podcasts?
Yeah, well, it's funny. We don't tend to listen to a huge amount of podcasts, but one that's really sort of tickled us since about Christmas time, and it might not be the most professional thing to say, but we love it. It's called My Dad Wrote a Porno. It's from a couple of years ago, I think probably about 2013. A chap called Jamie Morton found out that his father, who's an electrician, had been writing slightly blue novels,
right?
Like 2 of his friends to basically read them out loud, and it's absolutely hilarious. It's just we started listening to it at Christmas time, driving over to the Lake District to see my parents, and Ben nearly crashed the car. We were laughing so much. So it's just one of those sort of silly things. We haven't listened to it in a while because it does sort of gets a little bit too silly sometimes. But it's one of those funny things that yeah, we just like to sort of share a bit of a
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, that's a new one on me as well.
Oh, yeah. Check it out, it's hilarious. Maybe put your earphones in as well.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Great. And book-wise, would you like to recommend any books to us?
Well, it's a great question, because reading is a really big thing for us. We rarely have the TV on. We're sort of very busy with lots of other things, but reading is really important to us. And one of the things that we discovered we love to do together from quite early on of meeting each other is we like to find a book that we're both interested in and actually read it out loud to each other. So it turns it into a sort of an inclusive event together. And then, of course, we have lots of discussion around it. So rather than being a solitary, activity as such. And there's a book we're reading at the moment, we're about 3/4 of the way through, called 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson.
Right.
I would say it's one of those really amazing books that's applicable to anyone's life. And being, dare I say, a better person. It's not really a self-help book, it's more of a self-examination, self-exploratory book.
Right.
Really insightful into both the history of humanity and how we all are as people. And we're finding it fascinating. And I would say that it's applicable to literally anybody, both in your professional life and your personal life.
Great, great. I will actually have to listen to all these recordings back that we've done over the last 12 months and actually do a list of all the books that have been recommended. I wish I'd just done it at the start and remembered, but we'll do that eventually. So that's great. And the final question is, any words of wisdom that you'd like to share?
You want to go first?
Yeah.
We've got one each, if that's okay.
Great. No, that's brilliant. Yes.
Yeah, well, I've got a quote from Warren Buffett that to me has always been something that's really resonated very, very strongly. And he said, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. And if you think about that, you'll do things differently.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really need any further explanation, but I think that's something that really drives a lot of what we do as a business. And, yes, we're a small husband and wife business. Yes, we're local and we're very, sort of directly connected with our clients. But we also, because of our respective backgrounds with a lot of city-based, sort of large company background, approach everything we do with a very high level of professionalism.
It was interesting. I noticed a post on LinkedIn by Matt Fowler, who did a talk for us last year, actually, when we were in and out of lockdown. And it just was really simple. It said, take time to think before you respond, because you can just, say something at the, in haste, and that's it, isn't it? That can blow everything. Yeah. So I thought, yeah, that's quite a good one. Right, Jenna, what's yours?
I'm cheating. I'm reading it from my phone, so you have to.
Okay.
It's Nelson Mandela, so classic, and I love this. It's he said, "I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, he who conquers that fear." And I think that applies to us and our business, but it also applies to kind of day to day. It certainly applies to me with things like boxing. Never thought in a million years I would be confident or brave enough to go and give that a go. And I think that it's it steers us through quite a lot of what we do, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I think in all shapes, forms of things we do in life, isn't it? It's public speaking. I would have thought, 20 odd years ago, I thought, no. So, but as you'll see when you come to the Business Network next week, this week we've got one or two more hecklers in the crowd. So
you've got another one in this man here as well.
Yeah, you'll definitely fit in, Ben. Don't worry. So,
well, we'll keep you honest.
Great. That's what I like to hear. Well, look, thank you so much for taking part. It's been brilliant.
My pleasure.
So thank you. Okay. Bye.
Thanks, Simon. Bye.